everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. It's another week and I'm just getting over finally a cold that I had all week. So I still have some remnants left of that, but I'm hoping that whatever was going around the office, I don't have anymore. As far as today goes, I really always have loved the fall season. The change in seasons to me is just kind of signifies, you know, cooler weather, hopefully, some really pretty leaves changing, pumpkins, and of course October is when my birthday is, so I think just traditionally I've always loved fall. So today's video is really going to be an eye look just based completely off of fall colors, and I have a palette I'll be working from, which I'll show you guys that. And so far I just have all of my face makeup on and my eyebrows done. So I've defined those a little bit more today since we're going to be doing the eye look. So let's get started. So the very first product I'm going to use is the Huda Beauty Pound Cake, and this is actually almost like a translucent, it's kind of a translucent powder that's going to go right underneath your eyes. This is something I always put right before I'm about to do any sort of layering of eyeshadows. If I'm not just doing like one color and mascara, then I'm definitely going to put some of this right underneath my eyes. I need to get a little bit more. Just really allow the eyeshadow to catch any of that fallout that you get. And then that way at the end we can just kind of sweep it away when we're done. And just a side note, I've already primed my eyelids with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance eyeshadow primer. So anytime I'm doing any sort of eyeshadow period, I'm always going to put eyeshadow primer on, which I usually just apply with my fingers and all the way up to the brow bone. I've already done this step just because I just naturally do it in my face routine and when I'm doing my skincare. So that is already done and on my eyes. If you don't do this, it's just kind of all the work that you put into your eyeshadow. It could just be a waste of time because it's eventually just gonna, your natural oils are going to produce, it's gonna kind of fade away throughout the day and you don't really want that. So I'm going to be using today Morphe's 35V palette. I'm gonna put it up to the camera so you can see. So I'm really, and you can see which colors I already really love out of this palette, and there's a ton of cooler colors down here. We're mostly going to be using only the colors that we're seeing down here and in this region up here. So those are definitely more fall colors. This is just one of the many Morphe palettes, of course, if anyone knows. I definitely love Morphe. I think getting at least just one palette to have, you get so many colors for such a good price, it's so worth it. So I'm actually going to be using a couple of brushes. So today we're going to start with this kind of buffer brush, and I'm going to be using the color, this color here, just to kind of start. This is going to be sort of like a base all over my eyes and up to the brow bone. So let's go. So I'm just going to blend that up into my brow, a little bit in the inner corner of my eyelid there, and just really lightly on the lid. I like to kind of place down just a neutral shade. This one is actually called Go Nude in the palette. So this really just kind of helps to act as a nice barrier to the darker shadows that we can put on. And it just helps you to blend so much better when you've got something down already. So we're gonna keep going up there. Okay. And this is also, just for what it's worth, a matte shade. It's not gonna have a whole lot of shimmer to it. I don't like to pack shimmer up here or anything anymore. I think back in the day I might have, but not anymore. It just doesn't really look as good. So, all right. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna take a different brush. This is also another Morphe brush. I got it in a rose gold collection. And what I wanna do today is probably start gradually. So I'm gonna be using this shade here and this shade, but we're gonna start with this one first. And this is gonna go just sort of blended into the crease of our of my eye, like right around in here. And this color is called Scandal on the palette. So just make sure you have your brush nice and coated, as you can see there. And then I actually keep my eyes open for this step. Some people close their eyes when they're doing their eyeshadow. For me, I definitely want to keep my eyes open and just sort of see exactly where that color is going. And I'm just sort of buffing that into the crease, and just the way that my eyes sort of fall, I'm making sure that it's right in here, so if you can kind of see that. If I close my eye, that's what it's gonna look like. I usually, just due to the shape of my eyes, have to bring the color up higher than you normally would even think you'd want. But when your eyes are open, straight on, you're able to start to see that color pack in. So just kind of, you can kind of get an idea of that. We're gonna do the next side. Okay, so far we have 2 colors. We have both of them on each eye, Just Go, Nude, and Scandal so far. So the next step, the next color that I was pointing out to you guys, it's actually called Vixen in the palette, and I'm gonna hold that up here. It's gonna be this color. We're gonna take our same exact brush, and we're just gonna start to build that just into the crease and the corner of each eye, just to kind of get a little bit more depth. So I'm gonna get a little bit on the tip of the brush, and I haven't really cleaned off the brush. I don't think it's really necessary because now we're going into a darker shade. So you can see it just kind of builds up on that tip of the brush, and then we're just gonna bring that right into this corner, kind of tap a little bit. So if you tap with kind of the tip of the brush, it kind of helps to pack that color in, and then you could bring it down by your lash line and just sort of build on some of that intensity. I'm not going all the way in with this one. I only want to kind of build in the corners of my eye and just make it a little bit more, kind of more smoky and just a little bit more blended. So we're just doing that here. Okay, perfect. And you can see with my eye open compared to this eye, this one has a little bit more definition than that one. So we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, so now you can see we have kind of built up intensity on each corner, and just kind of that medium shade in the crease of each eye. So the next step we're gonna do, I'm actually gonna take a different brush. This is the Morphe M330. So it's another kind of blending looking brush. And now instead of just those warmer kind of brown shades, I wanna add a little bit of dimension and just kind of a little bit of a different shade, more of kind of a rusty kind of spicy color. So this next shade I'm gonna use is called In the Zone. So we're actually gonna go right back to where we were, but bring it in a little bit more, and we're just gonna kind of keep building in. So by layering all of these colors, it's gonna give us a much more blended look, as opposed to if I just jumped in and did this dark color right away. So I'm just kind of swirling my brush, tapping off any excess, and you can see I just have really enough shadow on the tip of that brush, and we're just gonna bring it in right about here and just start making some of those movements to start blending that color in. Oh, that's really pretty. Okay. And I'm bringing it in a little bit further just so I can continue to blend into the colors that I already have. And you can see there's that nice kind of rust looking color. And then what I like to do, just use my finger a little bit to continue to help blend some of those areas, but that's not gonna matter as much to me because the lid color we put on is almost gonna cover that up. So let's do the other side. So again, just getting that on the tip of your brush, and let's go in. Okay, so now I have much more kind of a rusty color, spicy color blending into some of those browns up here. The next thing I'm gonna do is just go back with that initial brush we did for the two browns and just start to sort of blend a little bit over what we've already done so far. And this is just gonna help, again, get more seamless with your look. And I haven't added any more color to these. I'm just blending these out a little more. And all the shades you've noticed that I've chosen so far are all very matte finishes. I don't have any kind of shimmery shades yet. I say yet because I still love having kind of a shimmer to make your eyes really stand out and sort of pop. So sometimes to kind of intensify this step, what you could also do outside of what we're about to do next, you could actually put a dark shadow liner, just basically bring in this dark color and bring it down here. I don't really want to do that today because this is more of kind of a daytime look, but for nighttime, if you wanted to do that, that would definitely be something you could do. So now the next step I'm going to use is going to be to kind of make that pop of color stand out right here in the corners and on my lid. I'm not going to be putting down any additional concealer because I really haven't touched much of my eye there at all. So the color's really gonna stand out, and Morphe's pigments are just so good that you almost don't need anything underneath them to make them stand out more unless you really wanted to, but it's kind of one of those steps that I don't find necessary, so I'm not gonna be doing that today. But the color that I'm gonna choose, and I'm kind of between a couple here, the two that I'm looking at are these two for this look today. I'm going to actually place this color here on the lid and then maybe going in the inner corners for that with that lighter shade just to make it a little bit brighter. So this one is actually called French Kiss. So I'm taking a flat-sided Morphe brush. I'll kind of show you once I have the color packed. So packed on one side, nothing on the other. Again, this brush is pretty wide, so if you have smaller eyelids, choose a smaller brush. This brush is really just good to do a couple sweeps on my eyelids, and that's why I do that. So I'm just gonna kind of press, and tap and pack that color right into the lid in the corner. And remember we talked about not having to blend too much in here. That's because this color is going on, and it's actually blending into some of those kind of eyeshadow blend marks, if that makes sense. So you can see just the difference. This really brightens it based off this side being really neutral, and you could leave this side the way that it is if you wanted just a truly matte fall look, but I think with this one, I really like having a little bit of that shimmer in there. It's super pretty. So I'll just blend that in. And let's do the same thing on this side. All right, so that gives it a little bit more brightness, which I like. I really do want to put that lighter shade in the inner corner. So what I'm gonna do, I don't know if you guys have ever seen one of these. It's kind of a quick change. You can just sort of brush your actual eyeshadow brush right onto this little spongy pad, and what it will do is clean off your brush without any product so that it's not wet or anything like that. And now I have a clean brush more or less to work with. I don't have product on it because I don't really want to put more of that bronzy color in. I want to go back in with a light color, and it's actually called Shameless. And instead of the whole flat side of the brush, I actually only put it on the very front tip. And we're just gonna go in the inner corners very lightly. And I don't have a lot of product on here because I don't want it to really overwhelm the inner corner of my eye and look like a starburst or anything. I don't know. I just want it to slightly blend in and give a little brightness. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Perfect. So it's just enough. It's not supposed to be up here in your brow bone or really, really bright. You just want enough to make your eyes sort of sparkle, and those colors tend to do that for my eyes, so I'm gonna keep it like that. So now that we've sort of done the eyeshadow, the next step, I want to go back to using the pound cake powder from Huda Beauty. And I'm gonna just swirl my brush into this lid here and dust away any excess shadow. So at this point, I'm done with loose shadow. All we have to do is mascara and eyeliner, and we will be done. And then maybe a couple finishing touches at the top once we're done. So I've just kind of swept away any possibility of excess. This is always a good trick if you have eyeshadows that are loose, like Bare Mineral shadows, or just any shadows that have a little bit more of that just loose powder once you put your brush in them. The really cool thing about Morphe eyeshadows is that they don't do that. Once you have enough on your brush, it actually blends really well, as you guys have seen. So the next thing we're gonna do is put on eyeliner and mascara. And I get questions sometimes, or I have over time, of should I put my mascara on first or should I put my eyeliner on first? Which one goes? And it's really preference. One thing that kind of can make it easier for you, and actually for myself sometimes, is taking your mascara and actually putting on your mascara first and then doing your eyeliner after. So I'm gonna be putting on my mascara, and I'll show you guys how I do that. So if you just kind of look down into your mirror, take your wand and sort of blink into it and roll upwards. Blink and roll up, and then sort of start to make small little strokes. And then blink slightly and roll up. Okay, and make sure all your lashes are coated. And then I always get the bottom lashes as well. Okay, perfect. So you can definitely tell a difference between this eye and that eye without mascara. Mascara is probably one of those things that I'm gonna wear every single day, no matter what. If I don't make it in the morning to do all my eyeshadow for work or anything, which is pretty common, I'm going to do mascara at the very least, and a little bit of liner. So I'm just gonna dip my mascara wand in here, and let's try this again on this side. So now you can see both sides have eyeliner, or both sides have mascara. No eyeliner yet, but we're gonna do some eyeliner because it really does make a difference. Normally at this step, you really want your mascara to dry. So I'm gonna take this fan here and just sort of let that dry for a moment. So the next thing I want to do, and this is something new I just bought by Morphe, it's called Trendsetter, if you can see that here. And this is a pencil. The cool thing about their pencils is that not only are they like $3 or $4, which I'll link it below if I find it, they also can be used as lip liner, they can be used as eyeliner, whichever one. If you're going to do lip and eye for yourself, or even just if you're working on clients at all, always make sure you're sanitizing that, because that's super important. This color pencil that I bought from them, I plan on only using for my eyes. I don't do a very dark lip, and we're probably not going to get into lip products today since eyes take so long, but I'm actually going to be using this pencil on the inner inner rim of my eye. So I'm going to be just like lightly pressing down on my eye here, not too hard and not tugging, and sort of brushing this color on the inner rim of my eyelids. Okay, so a lot more definition there than on this eye. So we're gonna do this side too. Okay, so I could leave this step and this eyeshadow look just like this. But what I want to do is add a little bit more definition, and I'm going to do the Kat Von D tattoo liner on the top line of my lashes. I'm gonna actually show you guys on this eye because I think it'll be easier to see. I'm not gonna do a wing liner or anything like that. I just kind of want to keep it really simple because I like the way that this is looking so far. So we're gonna take the wing liner, and I usually like to find the flat side of it. So when you're kind of turning the, not the pencil, but the felt tip, you're gonna find that really flat side, and you're just gonna be dragging that along the upper lash line. I like to kind of hold here just and close my eye briefly. And we're just gonna lightly drag right along the lash line. And then we're gonna come in on this side. You can sort of start to open your eye and get that inner corner. And you can see there we have a lined top liner, no wing, and then this side doesn't have any liner. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and even this out. Okay, and having that mascara there just kind of helped to act as a guideline for this felt tip liner, because this can kind of get out of hand a little bit, and for someone who's new at eyeliner, just you feel like you're not good at it, which I go through phases of that too, just put on your mascara first and then try putting your liner. Make sure your mascara is dry. So like we did today, we made sure that the mascara was nice and dry. Just as a final touch and a final finishing step, we're gonna go back to that very first brush that we used. So you can see this one's like a fluffy brush, and we're just gonna go up here right in the brow bone and just blend out any little eyeshadow chunks that might have not worked their way in to the blending process. And I always do this kind of as a finishing step to make sure that my eyeshadow is just looking as smoothly applied as possible, no harsh lines or anything. And then we have fall eyeshadow. So hopefully that helped you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. This would be kind of a typical look that I would do for the day. If I was wanting something more dramatic, I don't usually define that by day or night. I might just add a little bit darker colors in the corners and just keep building on this base that we already have. So hopefully all of you have a great fall season. There will be more videos. Just make sure to comment below, subscribe, let me know what you want to see next time. If you have any questions about the look, I'll try to link all the products that I used down below. So thanks for tuning in. Bye everyone.